got another hot topic, that's very controversial. What I'm speaking about today is the natural forces of nature and how we can use them. All right. I'll be presenting two videos today, right after this video, to show you a very, very interesting clip of misconceptions and science of voodoo. All right. Are you superstitious? Are you religious? Or are you a scientist? Right. So check this out. Um, we have certain powers that we can use if we know how to utilize it. All right, according to nature and nature's forces, dealing with the feminine principles. We have these powers. So whether you know this or not, um, this is true. All right, you just have to know how to utilize it. All right, before I get started, what I'll do is I got a story. All right, once I get this story out the way, I'm gonna bring these videos because you gotta see it. You gotta see it. It's on time. It's really on time. All right. I was about 19 years old. It was a situation where I was traveling, and it was a young lady. Looked like she was in distress, walking on the expressway. So I picked her up. And after picking her up, I basically asked, what was the problem? Because you don't see that every day. People walking on the expressway. You got cars going 70, 80, 90 miles per hour. It's dangerous, right? And that's something I don't normally do. But again, at that time, she looked like she really needed the help. So I picked her up. And in the middle of us, traveling, I just sparked up a conversation, asked her what was going on. Why are you walking on the expressway? And she was like, she just had a major fight with her boyfriend. So I'm like, wow, I know how that goes. So really, I'm ready to get off at a point, a stop. So I'm like, how far are you going? Because I'm going this way, but how far are you going? And she was like, well, I'm going about three exits down. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's perfect. So during the ride, she basically was letting her know that her boyfriend, I can't exactly remember exactly what he did, but whatever he did, it pissed her off. All right. So she was basically telling me what she was going to do, and I was like, well, I mean, hey, I understand what's going on, but just try to calm down and, think about it, whatever, whatever. Just trying to neutralize the situation, even though I didn't know her. And she was like, well, I got the power to do this and do that. So, I'm like, well, and she was like, I think I'm gonna have to do it. And I'm like, what you trying to do? Because she was constantly talking about, what she was gonna do, but it was indirect. And she was like, well, I was thinking about putting a spell on him. I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I'm thinking about putting a spell on him because, I can do this and I'll do that to him. And I was like, hold up. I was like, a spell? Are you serious? She was like, yeah. Straight face. She was like, yeah. And I was like, that shit ain't real. And she turned and looked at me and she said, oh, my powers are very real. I hit the brakes. I said, you gotta go. You feel me? You gotta go. So, at that time, I wasn't feeling that, at all. I didn't understand it. I was conscious, but I didn't know what she was gonna try to do to me. You feel me? So she can do whatever she was gonna do to him. I just didn't want no damn spell on me. You feel me? So I put her out, and I got on down. Right. So long story short, um, the whole point of this video is just to show you that some people know how to conjure up energies from nature for good and evil. All right. I don't recommend it, for evil. Maybe good, but not evil. So what she was talking about was on some evil shit, and I'm being real. All right, there was another instance. I had a neighbor. Um, I lived on one side of my neighbor. He lived in the middle, and I had another neighbor that lived on the side of him. And he had this bad habit of boiling things, and he would fall asleep while it was boiling. All right, he had a bad habit of doing this, and when it would do it, the water would boil out, and it would smoke up his apartment and smoke up ours. So one day, my neighbor came out, and he was knocking on the door, and I could hear it, and I could kind of smell the smoke, and I was like, I came out, and I was like, man, he hit it again, and he was like, yeah. So I went in the house, I got my fire extinguisher because he wouldn't open the door. So we didn't have a choice. I went ahead and broke the window out, put my arm in, unlocked the door, and we went in. It was like smoked out. But at the same time, I noticed that it was skulls, it was feathers. I saw pieces of iron. It was weird to the average person, especially back in my young days, because again, I was never introduced to anything like that. So to me, it was weird. I saw candles, skulls, feathers, pieces of metal, piercing out of objects. And I mean, it was weird, but we was thinking about him, because it was a smoke-filled room and we was trying to get him out of there. We didn't want him to die, you feel me? So that quickly, shot past me. So once we found him in the back room, he was asleep. We was like, man, get up, your house on fire. And he was like, just getting up regular, like, oh, okay, so we pulled him out. By that time, somebody had already called the fire department, and they were there. But coming to find out, we heard through the grapevine that he was practicing hoodoo and voodoo. Now, at that time, I didn't get in his business. I didn't know, I wasn't dealing with anything like that. So I don't know what he was doing. I'm just relaying the information to you all, what I saw. Okay. Now, third situation before I get to these videos. Um, Around 2011, 2012. All right. Now, this goes back to what I just said earlier about conjuring up certain energies, whether they be good or bad. Now, remember, when you're dealing with the seven hermetic principles, um, you deal with things that come back and around, okay? That'll come back around, cause and effect, et cetera, right? Like karmic debt. So during 2011, 2012, I had some major fights with federal judges. And I saw that these guys, I saw it was like a spiritual battle, a spiritual war. Okay. And what a lot of people don't know is it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, especially through the back roads, deep woods of Mississippi, that deal with voodoo. Like they really deal with it and they know how to conjure up certain things, energies for the good and bad. All right. Now, at that time, I got so tired of these guys, in the federal court. What they don't realize is I actually contact some people I knew that knew how to do some things. All right. But eventually I didn't go out with it because I thought about karmic debt. All right. I really thought about it for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I said, you know what, this is spiritual and we're going to kill them. All right. So, but I'm glad I didn't do it because that's something I would have had to deal with um, in the inside of me for a long time, because we were going at it. We were battling, and the fight lasted a long time. But anyway, I had, um, I had a mother that dealt with the arts and the higher forces or whatever, and she just let me know, hey, whatever you want to do, I'm ready to do it, but she also let me know this is what can happen as well, and I thought about it, I said, okay, all right, I'll think about it. So I'm glad I just let time pass and I let the Most High handle it, from a positive angle versus doing what we could have done. Okay. So this is just something to think about. All right. How forces are real, energy is real, you know, spells are real, sort of like how we call each other black. That's real. That's cursing a person, calling them black. Okay. Because black denotes to what? It denotes to something that is dead. Okay. So if I'm standing right in front of you, I'm not dead. I'm fully and well alive. I'm a flesh and blood being, right? So the thing is that curses are real, all right? Real talk. Spells are real, all right? So I just want to kind of like get that to y'all today and check these videos out, you know, and just tell me what y'all think. In the comments, let me know what y'all think about this, you know, because as a people in North America, man, we gone. I said in all my videos pretty much, like, we at the lowest level, we gone. All right. So are we superstitious? Are we religious? Or are we scientists? All right. That's my question. All right. And before we roll out, signs and symbols mean something, right? You got crescent and star, which deals with mother cradling the child. You got converse, communicate. What I'm doing right now, I'm communicating. That's what converse mean, of course, right? And I always sport my copper colored necklace because we are the various copper colored natives of America, right? Just because they look weird to some people, it doesn't mean that it's weird, all right? You're dealing with the uterus, you're dealing with the fallopian tubes, you're dealing with the birth canal, right? You're dealing with the pineal gland or the eye of Osiris or Horus, rather. I mean, you got the agate stone for protection. So, I mean, everything means something, all right? Just because something is weird doesn't mean that it's evil or dark. It just means that you need to study a little more, all right? Let's get to these videos. Peace and love. Ashe.
Feels like hours to go out there, very unknown territory. So yeah, we were seeking an adventure, and we were, you know, stretching the boundaries, doing something that we knew was somewhat dangerous.
So I don't know what religion they practice or nothing about it. But a lot of, from my tribal knowledge, a lot of people down through the years say that it's creepy.
It look like to me it's a Masonic issue. You know, the stars, the crosses, I don't believe it in myself. I think it's they call it the rat the goat, Masonic lodges and stuff like that. I think that's what it's about. They just call it voodoo.
All right. My name is Washington James Harris. I was named after my grandfather, Doc Wash Harris. Well, people would come from miles and miles around, not only Memphis, Mississippi, Arkansas. They come from Chicago, Detroit, New York, Pennsylvania, a whole lot of places. Even people would come from across the water to see him, talk to him. They got a problem they don't feel like nobody else could help them with. The good Lord gave him a gift that he don't give many people, you know. Some people say voodoo, witchcraft, and all that stuff, but that ain't what it is. It's a gift from God. It's just like God give me a gift, God give you a gift. You know, everybody ain't got the same gift. If it was, everybody be running around in a circle, you know. But he could tell you some things that you think you didn't know about yourself, but you. Me and my old man, we started this place back at where it was started back in the 60s. And I was small, but I hope do all the work that's here, you know, coming up.
You just see these kind of low buildings. They sort of looked like, you know, farm buildings or work buildings, tool sheds and that kind of thing.
I can't say we went over the entire property, but we sort of just meandered around. I vaguely remember seeing some of the small buildings, some of them oddly shaped and colored. I can't remember them so much as I remember him.
He was absolutely the real thing, whatever that might be. I mean, this is a man whose life's work is in southwest Memphis. And it's a pretty amazing life's work.
Some of the pieces almost look like machines. And it's like, well, what are the machines for? You know, it's like they're like a giant air purifier. But they're cleansing, you know, forces of, you know, negative forces maybe.
Doc is more like a prophet. He's got his people there. He's a tribal leader. He's a tribal leader. There's no question to me, my mind, he's a tribal leader. He may go back to Judah. It's at least as important as the building of the new bridge. It's a bridge from here to eternity. Nobody wants it built. Sorry, wrong number. Nobody. Find me one person besides you and me, just one, who wants the bridge built to Doc's village or to what it stood for.
We would work so long, we worked sometime all day, all night, half of the night, and people be riding up down the road, hollering, shooting, saying bad things, and we just kept right on working. And sometime on a Sunday, you'd be trying to have church service, and they be out in the road hooping and hollering, and all that old stuff. You know, now this all I call white trash that's doing this kind of stuff. You know, I don't believe the so-called good white people would do stuff like that. You know, but you got to read that Bible and explain that Bible to people for them to understand it, because a lot of people don't read the Bible. You know, they just hear stuff from word to mouth, and you know, a lot of people believe in stuff like that. And that's a bad thing too, because that's what put the name on this place, Voodoo Village. One joker had it and carried it on, and then they just passed it on around, and now you stuck with that name. You know, and nobody took time to find out what it's really about and why they named it that. They named it that because they didn't understand really what it was or what it was about. And then they asked nobody. Anytime you want to know something, you need to ask the people that got it, you know, and then you get the right understanding. But now, like I said, this place was built, as my old man told me, it's built for the future generation to come. Is to help people and teach people the right way to go. That's it.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Chosen One back at it, and today's lecture is going to be on a very important topic that we all have to understand, the meaning, the concept, and the true origin of this word. Now, I know this is going to scare a lot of people away, especially, you know what I'm saying, religious people. But once again, a lot of individuals just don't understand how good we have been deceived. The power of the deception of the global elite. Okay, what they did was they basically gave us false religion to believe in, and this happened while we lost all of our ancestral knowledge and wisdom of how all humans on this planet are connected with nature, the universal force of nature. Okay? Now, when you say this word right here, this word voodoo magic, okay? It has been given a terrible, terrible name and has been looked at in a very terrible light for many, many years. And that is because when the Caucasians who enslaved the Moors, the children of the Moors from Europe, okay, they told them that their true form of spirituality was nothing but evil witchcraft and to stay away from it. And so what happened? If they would practice it, they were hung, they were beaten, or they were burned alive at the stake. Go look up the Salem witch trials, okay? Those individuals were actually slaves. Do your research. That were trying to practice their ancient ancestors' rituals, and they were put to death. They were put to death. Go look it up. Look up the numbers of individuals who were killed by the Roman Catholic Church and the Christian Church practicing their ancient ancestors' spiritual science known as voodoo. Okay? And like I said, these individuals were doing nothing but using holistic herbs and natural energies coming from natural plants on this planet to heal themselves and to heal loved ones. So instead of going to the fake made up Jesus image that they want you to worship, okay, they were using holistic remedies to cure themselves and to cure their family and their loved ones. And what happened to them? The Christian Church and the Catholic Church put their asses to death. Okay? Okay, so this is a very, very serious topic. Okay? And let me just get this off my chest before I go any further. The term voodoo comes from the French term Vaudois or Vaudai or Vaudo. Okay? That is where the word voodoo comes from. Voodoo does not come from West Africa. Let me repeat. The term voodoo does not come from West Africa. It's a French term that comes from Vaudois, Vaudai, and Vaudo. Okay? And the melanated Moors in France created the French language, and they were the ones who created Vaudois, Vaudai, Vaudo, and then when they came to Haiti, when the French Moors were enslaved and were transported to Haiti, they changed it to voodoo. Now, what do these terms mean in French? They mean sorcerer. They mean sorcerer. Now, let me reiterate what I've been saying for the longest. All this word means is you are going to the direct source. You're the sorcerer who's going to the direct source to get your problems met, to get your problems solved. You're going to the direct source to get your problem solved. And what is the direct source? The direct source is nature. The direct source is nature. Earth, air, water, fire. The physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of humans on this planet. Okay? So when you use the voodoo, you are the sorcerer who's going to the direct source to get his problems met, which is nature. You're going back to nature to solve your problems. The earth represents the physical, air represents the mental, fire is the spiritual, water is the emotional. Okay? The four aspects of humans on this planet. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Okay? It's really sad that, the Roman Catholic Church and the Vatican basically pulled the wool over the eyes of all of humans on this planet to get the only spiritual science that can save humanity and make it look like evil, complete evil nonsense and witchcraft. Okay? They put a bad name on sorcery when sorcery really means you're going back to the main source and the true source to get your problems met, which is nature. So they vilified nature. They vilified this word, sorcerer, and they vilified our ancestors' science of voodoo. Okay? And ladies and gentlemen, if you think it's a bunch of bullshit, there's only been 1 or 2 times when melanated people have defeated European imposers. And one of those instances was in near southern Africa, okay, and the other one was in Haiti. The Zulu warriors and the Haiti ancestors are the only 2 that won their revolutions on a big scale. And we have to look at, why is that? Why is that? This is the answer, people. This is the answer, people. And it's so crazy because I know this word, you know what I'm saying, kind of sends little shockwaves in your head and kind of gives you a little bit of discomfort. But that is because of hundreds and hundreds of years of indoctrination and miseducation and mind fuckery. They basically flip-flopped it, people. The true form of witchcraft is coming out of the goddamn King James Bible. Because like I already told people, the King James Bible was written by a man who was a well-known demonologist and wrote books on demonology before he translated the King James Bible. That's who King James was. King James was a homosexual demonologist who took part in enslaving the Moors in Europe. That is why he was king of England / Scotland the same time slavery started in America, people. It's time to wake the hell up. It's time to wake up. Okay? This comes directly from your ancestors. This is using spiritual science connected to nature and your DNA system to get your needs met. Okay? When you say you're a sorcerer, you're going to the direct source to get your needs met. Okay? As long as you are not using this spiritual science to harm someone for no reason, then that is going to put karmic debt on your soul. Something called karmic debt, where something spiritually is going to happen to you in the future because of the negativity you put on another soul using this form of spirituality. Okay? So like anything else, if we're looking at a weapon or a gun, it can be used for evil or it can be used for good. That doesn't make the whole science evil, people. This is our ancestors' stuff that they don't want us to tap into. This is how the Haitians and the Zulu warriors won their revolutions, by this magic, by this energy, this universal energy right here. Okay? So when you say voodoo, that's really our Moorish French ancestors saying the word sorcerer. And when you say sorcerer, that means you're going to the direct source to get your needs met, which is these 4 aspects of nature. Okay? Any ritual you do for healing or to help a loved one or someone in need is done on something called a new moon. It's done on a new moon. And the new moon is when the moon's light cannot be seen at night. Let me repeat. The new moon is when the moon's light is not reflected in the night, and when you look up in the night sky, you cannot see the moon. You cannot see the moon's reflecting the sun's light. Okay, so the moon just looks like a dark shadow in the sky, and you can only really see the moon in the night with a telescope. That is called the new moon. So when the new moon occurs, that is the time to do the rituals that are needed to help somebody in need, or to cast a spell on the Zionist Jews in power and the Knights of Malta in the Vatican. Okay, if you want to do that, that has to be done on a new moon. On a new moon. Okay, so after I believe 13 days after that, 13 to 20 days after that, is when you're going to get your full moon. On your full moon, that is when your spells will be, their energy will be harnessed from the moon and will be enacted and put back on this planet on the full moon. So basically on the full moon, that is when the spell will be fully manifested. Okay? And the spell will go into effect on the full moon. Okay? So you start the voodoo ritual on the new moon, and it does not manifest itself until the full moon. Okay? That is why the full moon is so significant, because there's certain sorcerers out here who are casting negative spells on people during the new moon, and they're manifesting on the full moon. And that is why these people are out here going crazy, going insane on the full moon. They're under spells and they don't even know it. This is why crystals are so important. This is why meditation is so important. And this is why living by moving water is very important. Fire destroys physical demons because fire is spiritual. Okay? Water destroys spiritual demons. Let me repeat. Fire destroys physical demons. Fire destroys physical demons. Water destroys spiritual demons. Water is probably the most precious substance in this third dimension, because it connects us with the higher realm, the celestial seas. It all starts with the water first. It all starts with the water. Okay? Period, point blank. So when you want to take care of spiritual demons, you go to moving water. You go near moving water. You burn sage. You burn a plant called sage. You start sun gazing. You start sun gazing. You start looking into the sun. Okay? You try to remember the most pleasant memory you can think of in your past. The most happiest, joyful moment that you can remember in your past. And at that moment is when the demon is going to exit your body. Where have we seen this before? In the Harry Potter movies. The first one was called the first one where this incident happened was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Go watch Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the fifth book, the fifth movie. These demons were called Death Eaters. And they basically took over a human soul and gave them depression and anxiety and a bunch of fearfulness. Okay? And that is what that is. That is what those demons represent. Okay? So to get rid of these demons, you have to go near moving water. Go near moving water and look in the sun and remember a memory, your most happy memory, your most joyful memory in your life. And I'm telling you, the sun's energy, the electromagnetic energy from the moving water, and the energy from your heart chakra from remembering that joyful memory is going to cause the demon to exit your body. Remember, in that Harry Potter movie, the fifth one, when Harry Potter remembered the most joyful memory in his life, a damn shield was put around his aura, and the Death Eaters couldn't harm him anymore. It's the same thing, people. It's the same thing with voodoo magic. It's the exact same thing. This is why I did this video, because somebody came to me who was a up and coming rapper, and he said he sold his soul to a demon, and to get fame and recognition, and to get a small record deal. And he said he didn't want to be involved in it anymore. So he was asking me, what can he do to basically get his soul back? He wanted his soul back. Now, I'm not going to mention the individual's name on this video out of respect. I would never do anything like that. I just want the brother to know that I love him for coming out and admitting what he did, and coming to me for help, because I basically told him, you know what I'm saying, this voodoo can be used for good or evil. Okay? Do not let these Christians fool you. Do not let these Catholics fool you. This is the ancient science of our Moorish ancestors that comes straight out of Kemet and straight out of Babylon. Okay? So I told him, go to a place where water is moving, with moving water. Look into the sun. You know what I'm saying? Burn some sage while you're looking into the sun, and try to remember the most joyful moment that ever happened in your life. And at that moment, the demon will be released from your body. And make sure you do this. Make sure you do this on the morning before the night of the new moon. Make sure you do this on the morning or the afternoon before this night where the new moon is going to occur. And I told him to do this, and this is what he's going to do, ladies and gentlemen. So by the time the full moon is enacted, the demon is going to be completely removed away from his aura. Okay? Away from his aura. Okay? This is how you get demon spirits out of your body. Okay? You do this physically through voodoo magic. You don't call on some Serapis guy who never existed, and who we can't find his grave site or his ancestors. We can't find who his ancestors are today. We can't find who Mary and Joseph's ancestors are today. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about people who supposedly only lived 2,000 years ago. We still can't find their ancestors. You know what I'm saying? He never existed as far as historical documentation. You know what I'm saying? But this word was given the most evil light, the most evil name through cartoons, through churches, and through movies. Okay, that's how they tried to dumb us down. All the horror movies they made in the 80s were to give voodoo a bad name. But voodoo was the only damn thing that could save us. This is how our Haitian ancestors, our Haitian brothers, defeated the French in Haiti. This is how the Zulu warriors defeated the British. We better wake the hell up. We better wake the hell up before it's too late. Okay? Okay, I appreciate that brother who came to me, who tried to get in the music industry, and he had to sell his soul to do it. He said he didn't have to sacrifice a human. He sacrificed a chicken, okay, or a rooster, which is a lower level organism, which has much lower chakras, a much lower number of chakras than humans. So basically, he would just have to do about three good deeds, pure of heart, after he did this ritual by going near moving water, sun gazing, and remembering the most happy memory in his life while burning sage, okay? And doing that on the afternoon of the new moon, okay? So when the full moon came, if he did 3 acts of kindness, okay, that truly came from the heart chakra, that would counteract the sacrifice of the rooster, okay? We have to get hip to this information. And guess what? The more information I find on this spiritual science known as voodoo, the more videos I'm getting ready to upload, because we have to get hip to this information. They try to install fear in us to keep us from the only thing that can save us, people. The Knights of Malta and the Vatican and Hollywood sorcerers are using this against us, and we have to use it against them. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Okay? Voodoo and spiritual science are also connected to our DNA. Our DNA currently has 2 strands because we have devolved from 13-strand humans. Let me prove that. The scientists just came out and said there's 10 other strands of DNA known as junk DNA. They call it junk DNA, but it's really jump DNA. Put a M and a P after the JU and you get the jump DNA. So 10 and 2 give you 12. Okay? Which means that our ancestors that were living on this planet 3,000, no, I say about 6 to 13,000 years ago, had 12 strands of DNA, 12 to 13 strands of DNA, which connects us with our 13 chakra points on our body. So each strand of our DNA rules a different chakra point on our body. And the DNA structure is made of 4 major protein codes, A, T, C, and G. 8 T, C, and G. So when you look at the DNA structure of animals on this planet, the only difference between humans and other animals on this planet is the A, T, C, and G is just put in a different order. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Ladies and gentlemen, we are connected to all the animals on this planet through our DNA. Okay? The only difference is the codes are put in a different order. So our DNA is no different than a snake, a fish, any other animal, a whale, a tortoise, you know what I'm saying? A monkey. All the difference is the protein codes on the DNA strand are put in a different numerical order. They're put in a different order, people. Okay? Which means that we are all made of the same building blocks by the same creator. Put us here on this planet. That's all that means, ladies and gentlemen. We can also see our DNA as Jacob's ladder. The spiritual science, okay, that leads us up to our pineal gland, okay, tapping into our kundalini energy, our kundalini rising. That's why King James said the serpent was evil, to keep us away from tapping into our kundalini energy and activating our DNA genetic codes, which would allow us to tap into our ancestral memory. You see what I'm saying? Our ancestral memory has to do with our DNA. Our Akashic records, which have to do with our soul's memory, is in our pineal gland. That is what Jacob's ladder is referring to in the Bible, people. It all goes back to our genetic code, our DNA code, DNA activation. We really have 12 strands of DNA. Do not believe these scientists. They call the 10 other strands junk DNA. That's baloney. That's bullshit. We have 12 strands of DNA. Okay, some of us have 13. 13 strands of DNA, 13 chakra points. If they are activated, through cleansing our aura, cleansing our chakra, cleansing our mind, spirit, and body. Okay? Our DNA will send us from 3D to 5D. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Okay? This is the ladder in and out of dimensions. It is our DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid. They call it acid because it's a form of plasma that comes from the stars. So they called it acid. Okay? So this is really all I got for today. I hope I could expose a lot of truth.
In the